So pumped to be here again on SKIMO Gold with Cam Smith and Max Drion, our guest for today from Belgium. For those who don't know, Max has been tearing it up out there for a number of years on SKIMO, also in trail running. 11-time World Cup medalist. Max, recent, I believe, once again, Belgium champ in SKIMO. Congrats on that. That was just a few days ago as of this conversation. He's an Olympic hopeful. He's a European mountain running champ. He is, according to Cam Smith, a contender in any SKIMO discipline on any day. And that shows a great range, from the 3-minute sprint race up to the individual that could be 90 minutes or 2 hours or even more in the case of the Grand Course races. He is a guy who I think, based on your YouTube, Max, I've been stalking you, you're into fun and you're into adventure. And I really like that. There's a scene in one of your recent YouTubes. It's the day before a big World Cup race. The pressure's on and you're out there having some grand adventure. And you actually said, I don't know if this is the best race prep, but it's fun. And I tell you what, Max, fun is fast. And I think you got that working for you. And again, the YouTube, if people haven't seen it, look up Max's YouTube channel. These guys you and your team, you're killing it. Not only with the content, but the production. It's got the music. It's got a lot of great info for anyone who likes SKIMO. It's a great chance to learn because you're telling, what are you doing for training? What types of intervals? What are you doing in between the heats? It's really good stuff. Anyway, Max, I could go on and on. Oh, I forgot. You juggled during your warm-up. We got to hear about that. This guy's out there on the snow juggling tennis balls right before his race starts. We got to hear about that. So, Max, thanks again for coming. These guys are on the eve of a World Cup race in Bormio, Italy. We're super lucky that they're taking the time. Maybe to start, Max, give us your backstory. How'd you get to this point where we are right now?
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Max. As you heard, I compete for Belgium. That's not very common, I would say, in ski mountaineering. I'm actually the only one on the World Cup circuit and the only professional ski athlete from Belgium. So I am born in Belgium in 1997, and my family kind of one day decided to move to Switzerland. So I arrived in a small mountain village in the Swiss Alps in 2008, and there I discovered what mountain sports was really about. I was already doing some alpine skiing, but yeah, mountain is not only about alpine skiing; it's also about endurance sports. And yeah, kind of directly when I arrived, I discovered mountain running thanks to a local race and my sports teacher. And directly also the first winter I discovered ski mountaineering, and yeah, kind of fell in love with the sport. And since then I've been doing kind of both seasons, mountain running in summer and ski mountaineering in winter. I had the opportunity to represent Belgium for the first time in 2013. It was in the cadet category, I would say the actual under 18 category. And yeah, seeing I was not too far from the best ones, there was already Davide Manini, Niccolò Canclini, Samuel Ecchi, and some names we still have on the circuit in my category. And yeah, year after year, I kept believing myself, even if it was very challenging to represent a small country as Belgium in winter sports, because of course of the lack of public knowledge about the sport, the lack of support, and also
Mm.
I was quite young and didn't have all the results I've right now to promote myself toward big companies. And in 2021, I got my first World Cup victory, my only one so far, but I'm working towards more. But in 21, I got my first World Cup victory, and also the IOC announced that SKIMO would enter the Olympics, and kind of these two events combined made me believe in myself and really made me accept or consider the option of making sports my living. And so since 2021, I really
Mm.
focus all my attention on sports, even though I'm still finishing a master degree in management in HEC Lausanne. So I have
Mm,
some lessons. I was on Monday and Tuesday in Lausanne at university to have some classes. But yeah, my main
wow.
focus is on sport.
All right, man. Good for you. Good job continuing to pursue the education. I think that's great. Obviously, hard to do with the balance, but maybe good as well to give your mind other places to go. I'm curious, Max, a little more about your background. Were either of your parents athletes? Clearly, you have some natural talent, and endurance and speed engine. When I think Belgium, I think, the Kermis races. I think cyclocross. I think, Wout van Aert and Remco. Were you into that stuff? Did you do cycling? Did your parents do that? I heard you play tennis as a kid. Is that where it all started for you?
Yeah, tennis was a small part of what I was doing. It was only 1 hour per week, so I was not a tennis player at all. I was just I would say a sports lover. I always liked any type of sport. The sports classes at school were obviously my favorite, but no, my parents were not professional athletes or high level athletes at all. My dad used to do some skimo, but only for fun, even though he did Pyramenta and the World Championship also in 2013. But yeah, doing the World Championship
Mm,
for Belgium is not, I would say, like doing it for Italy, France, or Switzerland. So yeah, the only condition to take part to the World Championship, if you are from Belgium, is to have the Belgian citizenship. So that's not the hardest part.
nice.
But still, my dad still does every morning 1 hour and a half of skimo. He's 1,000 meters of elevation, and then comes back home to at 9 to start working. But yeah, nobody in my family really has that sports background, and I still sometimes feel, I would say that not understood in my family. They
Mm,
some of my family members don't believe or don't realize that being a professional athlete is really a job, and it takes
mm,
all
mhm.
your heart, all your energy, all your time. But yeah, thanks also to the YouTube videos now, my family is starting to believe that and to understand that it's not just about 1 hour a day of training, and the rest of the day I'm free to I would say to manage my investments and my stocks
Yeah, yeah,
in trading. But yeah, that's also cool.
yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that. I think many of us have felt that way at times. Cam, what are you thinking?
yeah, Max, I just want to interject because we were talking about your background, right, Max, of growing up in Belgium and finding the mountains and not just finding the mountains, but winning a World Cup. And it reminds me of following that race. So it was 2021, like you said, and Max is racing in an all black suit, like maybe a tiny little Belgian flag is printed somewhere at the time. I'm not sure. Your suit looks a lot better right now. That's for sure. And I remember seeing this video of you running away from the favorites. I think Davide Magnini again was right there on home soil in Madonna, and you could tell how excited the whole SKIMO community was to see you from Belgium of all places to not just land on the podium but be on top. And that wasn't just a one-time thing. Since then, Travis and I were trying to count it up before, and we lost track going through your SKIMO stats profile of how many medals you've had at World Cups and European Championships and World Championships, but we think it's something like 12 or 13. So it's not just you broke through and got there, but you've been one of the best racers across disciplines ever since. And so I want to bring that up partly so that people know that because you're a little too humble to have pointed that out so far. But second, like that's just such a big mountain to climb, right? Like you talked about just going to the world championships, being from Belgium is like you're on the outside looking in, like you're not part of these big teams with all this support and it's not a part of your family's history. Like what's driven you since 2021? Like how's your journey been in the last 5 years? Like walk us through more recent times too.
Yeah, so I would first say that my best memory of that World Cup victory was seeing how how happy the others were about me winning the race. I think Davide was
Mm,
more happy to be second with me winning than if it had been another victory of him. And seeing the smiles and seeing everyone hugging me after the race, not believing it that I would do such a thing, is one of my best memories so far. And when you win a World Cup, or as you did also, Cam had the podium on a World Cup, you get that confidence. You know you did it once, and inside
Mm.
of you, you believe you can do it another time. And so since 2021, I never stopped to believe in me, or believing in the fact that I belong to these athletes who can be on the podium. Yeah, doing it the first time was maybe the most difficult part. Now, when I am at the start of a race, as you said, or whatever the race, I have that excitement because I know I can get on the podium that day. It's not as if I was only good in vertical, in sprint, or in individual, and I knew I had only one chance or only four chances during the whole winter to get a podium. What excites me is the fact that, yeah, of course I work for that, but on any given day, on any day, I believe that I can get a podium, and that's very exciting. Also, since 2021, I've been developing a large team around me. So, as you saw on the videos, I've a physio and a coach that travel with me. But I think 17 or 18 people that I am in contact with, like a nutritionist, like mental coach, different type of coaches, experts in different fields. The Belgian Olympic Committee, the national federations, and other doctors, other physios with whom I interact. And also developing this team around me allowed me to kind of delegate some tasks to them, because before
Mm.
2020 I was doing everything by myself. I had no coach, no mental coach, no physio, nothing. Till 2020, I really built my career just by myself, and I learned also a lot thanks to that. A lot about why I like SKIMO, what drives me daily. Also to know more about sports physiology and stuff like that. And now I do also some coaching thanks to the experience I got thanks to that. But the last years I really tried to professionalize myself, like almost like build a small company around me. I am the manager,
Mm.
so I'm still the one who decides everything. I don't have yet. I would not say that the others work for me, but I'm the one making the decisions. Like which race I am doing. I decided I want to do Mezzalama. I want to do sprints at the same time, and I say to my coach, okay, do the best you can, but I want to do all these races, and
Mm.
uh, and do your job to make me win all the races, or almost. But I'm still the boss, but I have a big team around me helping me to get these results.
Yeah. Oh man, Max, thanks for sharing all that. I tell you what, for the audience, like that's how to be a pro athlete right there. Create a team around yourself, and it's going to be hard. And I think, Max, that speaks to your education, what you're learning. Like there's a lot of details to manage, but it pays off, and like you said, hopefully allows for delegation of certain things, and just that team environment. That's huge. A couple of specific questions about that, Max. Number one, the mental performance. Are there, or the sports psychology, as it might be called, any just particular takeaways that you've learned working with those professionals that really help you? And then number two, curious on the nutrition side. Are you doing is it the World Tour cycling kind of thing where you're using an app and every meal is weighed out and plated, etc.? Are you eating by feel? What works for you in those two areas? Again, the mental performance, and then also with nutrition and eating.
Yeah, so really good point. So I've started to work with a mental coach beginning of 2021. So I would say 3 months and a half before my World Cup victory in Madonna di Campiglio, and I'm sure that
Mm.
had a big part in it. I've goosebumps talking about it, because there are many techniques I learned thanks to my mental coach, and one is called in French is PNL, but I think in English it would be NLP, neuro linguistical
Mm.
programmation. And so
Mm-hmm.
you are using past memories, during the sprint in Madonna during the vertical in Madonna Campiglio that I won. I used a past memory, during which I felt really powerful, like unbeatable, flying up the mountain. And when I attacked on Davide Manini 100 meters before of elevation before the finish line, I really visualized, like in a click, this past memory, and it gave me, I think, 20%
Mm.
more energy than I had before. Um, and when I decided I was going for the victory, because it also took some time to accept that I was fighting for the victory and that I could get it. Because sometimes you are in top five and you say, okay, top five is good, I'm happy with that. But maybe during that day you have the strength to beat these guys that you maybe never have beaten before, but you have to
Mm.
sometimes accept, take risks. And so 4 minutes before the finish line, I decided I wanted to go for it, and I started running with skis, a technique that was new at that time, and I never stopped. I wanted to keep running till the finish line, even if the slope was at 25 or
Mm.
30%. I decided to keep running. Maybe I would have been faster gliding,
Mm.
but in my mind, I had to keep running, keep running, keep running. Don't look back, keep running. And as soon as I
I
started
love it.
to run with my skis, I knew there was no way anyone could pass me. And that's a memory I still use. I update these memories sometimes with more recent results, because you have to change them to keep the power of these memories. But yeah, this day, and also thanks to the videos I have of that day, it's a memory I will cherish forever. So yeah, mental coaching was a big
Mm.
part of the gap um, I had in 2021. And about nutrition, how to say that? Yeah, thanks to the sport I do, I can eat as much as I want. So I don't count the calories, but I try to eat as healthy as possible, and also to keep some part, some to eat some food that I enjoy. So
Mm.
during this World Cup, actually in Bormio, I am reporting all the food that I eat. So every gram of pasta I eat is reported, and I share this data with a sports nutritionist that will analyze
Mm-hmm.
it and give me some feedback for the rest of the season. But that's not something I do all the time. I do it sometimes
Mm.
in training camps, also because the energy demands in training camps can be very high, and yeah, being tired for 3 weeks after a 1 week training camp is not very optimal. So during a training camp, I pay a lot of attention to how much I eat, not what I eat, but how much I eat, because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you need to put fuel in the tank, otherwise you are tired before the season starts.
Yeah. Oh man, very good. So much good info. I love that mental training technique, and it reminds me, Max. I've done some work also with practitioners. It's that could be thought of as a somatic technique. It's not just the memory. It's the feeling. That we actually feel in our body, and some people even have a visualization around that. Where is that energy? What does it look like? And then we can sum it up, like you said, to do something that you've never done before, but the first step is to believe it. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. um Continuing with the nutrition, the fueling, both of you guys, and this is a hot topic in all endurance sports, the high carb fueling. When you're out there, when you're training day in and day out, do you have a specific or a typical intake, X number of carbs per hour? I saw in Max this again. This is another great thing in your YouTube. People got to check it out because you're giving us exactly what you're doing. I'm seeing shots like in an individual race, you come through kind of the coach or the feed zone, and they give you a little flask, and you're guzzling down. It sounded, I thought, maybe like 60 grams of carbohydrates, sort of in one slam, and then maybe taking more with you. Was I right on the math about that's a lot of carbs, but like it's hard to eat in these races. races. They're super dynamic, so you gotta do it when you can. What do you think? I'm kind of rambling, but what's your protocol? Do you have a baseline X number of carbs per hour, and then it varies depending on logistics? Say more about all that.
Um, that's a complicated topic because the number of carbs you can absorb depends on many factors. First, the intensity, then the temperature. Sometimes when it's very hot, you don't want to have too much carb because you need that water to keep going because you otherwise feel dehydrated. And so for example, in the work, if you are referring to the Andorran World Cup, the individual race,
I think
so
that's what it
there for
was.
that
Yeah.
race, it was 1 hour 15 of racing. I had 60 grams of carbs in my drink, my soft flask on me, and then every round I was getting a small flask with 20 grams of carbs during it. And so during the 1 hour 15 of racing, I think I absorbed, because I didn't drink all the flask, but around 100 grams of carbs. But yeah, that really depends on a lot of factors. And also in training, I kind of do the two opposites. Sometimes during some trainings, I don't eat carb. I don't. It's only water and electrolytes, but I don't have carbs at all. And sometimes I
Hmm.
force myself to eat as much as possible to kind of create different types of adaptations. Uh, the first one is to force my body to use what's already available in the body, and the
Yep.
second one is to train my gut to up to be, because yeah, to be ready for a lot of carbs in a short time. So there's these two kind of trainings I have, but yeah, normally in training I am around of 50 grams per hour, always in a flask. I barely ever eat something because with the cold, a bar can be very hard to masticate, and and in racing even more. With the high intensity, you
Yeah.
cannot. If you if you try to eat something, it's really hard to masticate and then to swallow. What I do sometimes on long races is I have a bar, but that I cut in many small pieces that I put in my pocket, and I kind of
Yep.
swallow the small pieces of the bar in one go. So like it's pre-cut, and it helps. But yeah, otherwise it's always carbs in my sports drink, a mix of maltodextrin and fructose with some electrolytes sometimes when it's hot. Um, and uh, and yeah, that's it, I think.
Very good. I like it. I like how you're maximizing the range. Cam, briefly, any is that similar to kind of what you're doing? As I think about U.S. races, we got this one. You've probably heard of it, Max, the Grand Traverse. You start at midnight in Crested Butte, Colorado, where Cam lives, and you go all through the night and finish in Aspen. And that strategy that you mentioned of taking some solid food, a bar or whatever, and cutting it into pieces so that you have that handy, that's something I often recommend to clients for, especially something like that. Because, yeah, it's cold. You got your gloves on. Like even opening a gel, it seems simple, but that can be really hard when you're working hard and it's cold and, you have mittens and stuff. Any more thoughts on that fueling stuff, Cam, while we're on the topic?
Gosh, Max really nailed it, I think, especially for these short races. Those are some really good strategies, and especially in Europe where it's easier to keep your water from freezing, and you have a coach to hand it to you. Like that's a bomber way to do it. And I think Max brought up some really good points about not fueling every training session completely. So I
Yep.
feel strongly, and again, I'm not a nutrition expert, but I feel strongly that you always need to have enough fuel on board on a day-to-day basis, but not necessarily at all moments of the day. So I'm not one for slurping 3 gels and getting 150 grams of sugar, let alone how many carbohydrates, like in easy training sessions. Like I think it's good to let your body use the available fuels sometimes and always eat enough before and always eat enough after. But personally, I'm not a subscriber to staying totally fueled at all times. I think there's really good performance benefits to it, but I think we just haven't seen people eat that level of sugar over the course of years and decades. And so there's just a lot that we don't know about other potential health risks with people having that much sugar. So I absolutely want to be as fueled as possible, but I'm trying to do it without sugar, except for when I need it, which is, of course, any hard training session. Obviously, any race, then sugar is going to be the best way to get that done. But I'm going to try to do all that with as little as I can while staying 100% fueled.
Yeah, there's something I would also like to add is to calculate how much water or liquid I need to absorb during a race. I did some tests in training. So during some trainings, I weighed myself naked before the training and after
Yep.
training. And during this 1 hour 15, 1 hour 20 of racing, of high intensity training, I didn't drink or eat at all. So I wanted to
Hmm.
measure how much weight I was losing, but this weight is only water that you lose because of the sweat, because of the sweating. And during this 1 hour 20 of racing, I lost 1.1 kilos. So that gives me an idea of how much I should drink during an individual race on a specific temperature. But yeah, just to give me a range of what I should drink, because we often talk about the amount of carbs we should have, but
Yep.
dehydration is also a very limiting factor of performance. So drinking enough is also very important during racing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what a
Great.
novel idea, huh, Travis? That if you lose 1.1 kilos, you should have 1.1 liters instead of, oh, I lost 2.4 pounds, so that means I should probably have about 17 ounces of water, maybe ish.
Oh
Isn't
man.
it nice to
I,
just use kilos and liters instead?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing in my head, like the marvels of the metric system. Like that just wow, how easy. And then you got a nice flask. Oh, this is half a liter. Like, wow. It makes things simple. I love it. How about other metrics, Max? You're obviously again, I like the balance because on the one hand, and again, if people watch your YouTube, you're having fun. You're going on these adventures. Like there's one I think you were in the Pyrenees in Catalonia, northern Spain. Like the World Cup's over, and you guys go out and you do this awesome run, and some of that's probably maybe a stimulus of getting some miles on tired legs, but more so, it feels like it's fun. You want to experience nature and just do the things we love to do. So I love that, and it seems again you got this team of 17 people. You're dialed. It's highly scientific. What are the on slope metrics for training and racing that you and your coaches are using? Is it a lot of heart rate? Is it vertical gain? Is it VAM? For people who don't know VAM, it's kind of this Italian vertical ascension. Something you guys probably know, but like it's how fast are you going uphill? How many vertical meters, per hour? Are you using power? I've speculated. What if we get a power meter on your ski boots? Would you do that? What are you looking at, Max, on all those type of things?
There's only one metric I am using is the heartbeat. I don't care
Mm,
about the elevation meters I do. I don't care about the speed. I don't care about anything else than my heartbeat. So for every given training, I have zones that I have to respect, intensities that I have to match during my intervals, and that's the only thing I care about. If I do a lot of meters, good job. But yeah, it's also important to train on flats, to train in steep, to train in technical terrain, and so looking at VAME or to look at elevation meters doesn't always isn't always very productive because you maybe only train one aspect of ski mountaineering. Uh,
mm,
Going fast uphill on slopes, of course, you get quickly many meters of elevation, but you maybe are not well prepared for Piramenta or Mezzalama, where it will be more about technical terrain. Same like if you only train in steep slopes, you will not be performing well on flat courses. If you only train on flats, you will not be you will not have good results in the vertical in Schladming, for example. So
yeah. Yep.
it's finding a good balance between everything, and also these adventures help me to diversify my trainings, because of course I could train on the ski slopes all the time or on the ski touring tracks that are well marked all the time, but it would not help me to develop these last skills that are useful in ski mountaineering, like to ski downhill on icy steep slopes or on crusty snow is not something you can find by going down on the ski slopes, and it's snow conditions that we sometimes have on the World Cup, so
Yep.
or in other races. So I try to diversify my training as much as possible, and these adventures are one reason to do that. But I would say that during the last years, I've I started to know myself better and better, and to understand what drives me behind ski mountaineering. And so I've
Mm,
identified three pillars that explain me why I love ski mountaineering, and why I love mountain sports.
mm,
So the first one is about feeling competitive. It's about training. It's about being fast, being focused, being the best in the world in what I do. So it's yeah, I respect the training plans. I have a coach. I have all this stuff for this aspect. The second aspect is about discovering aspect of the sport. So it's about discovering new summits, discovering new trails, discovering new countries, um, discovering new emotions, new feelings. It's discovering what life is about and what the environment has to offer us. And the third one is about sharing my passion. So the YouTube videos
mm,
is one way to do that, but also sharing these trainings with my staff or with friends or with kids or social medias. But that's also one reason I prefer YouTube instead of Instagram and Facebook. Is it allows me to be more authentic and to share more my my love for the sport. And what I noticed more recently is that to feel good and to really feel fulfilled by what I do is in any given training, I need to have at least two of these aspects
mm,
united.
mm-hmm,
So when I have a training with intervals, I enjoy doing it, or for my motivation, it's better if either I do it in a new place that I don't know, or I share it with someone else, a friend or a coach, or just share it with someone. Or if I'm doing a long day in the mountains, it will make sense to me if it's with someone else, or if it's still fitting my training plan. But the best is, of course, when all these three pillars are united. When, for example, in the Pyrenees or in Azerbaijan, I am following my training plan, but at the same time, I doing it in a new place that I don't know, and sharing it
mm,
with friends. So that's really what motivates me, is to have these 3 points together. Like this morning, I was with Pablo in Bormio doing a ski touring track. I was doing my training that I wanted. I want to do 1 hour of training. We did 1 hour 10 minutes, so that's the same. And it was a new place that I didn't know. So this morning's training was just the perfect training for me, and it made my day, and I'm uh, I'm really happy about it.
yeah. Oh man, Max, thanks for this. That's gold right there, man. This is SKIMO gold, like right here, Max. That's any athlete out there, take Max's advice and define those. Max called them pillars. Cam has called them values. Well, I want to hear yours again, real quick, Cam, because it's the same exercise, but it's defining those and then trying to hit them very intentionally. And just to double click, Max said competition, discovery, and then number three was sharing or impact. And what I love about that, Max, is it's dynamic. It's not all just the outcome. Of course, yes, you guys are at the highest level. You want the podium. You guys want to be in the Olympics, and that's awesome. But it's bigger, and that's what makes it sustainable, I think, and fun. And it
Cool.
actually makes the results better. Cam, tell us. You told me on a previous podcast your four values, and it's the same kind of thing. Can you run through those real quick again if people haven't heard that other one?
Yeah, that was joy, adventure, service, and kindness. So similar to Max, like I think about those when making
Yeah.
decisions about how I'm structuring my race season and where I'm going to travel and how, yeah, how I'm going to attack every day. And so I'm thinking about how those fit. So similar to Max, like I might go off on a big adventure where I'm exploring, yeah, new mountains and going to new summits, that fits within my training plan as well as it can. Or maybe like I'm spending more time working, or like Max is doing with, yeah, continuing to like go through education. Like we're being well rounded in such a way that it's helping us pursue those pillars and values, not as a compromise, but because that makes us better. Like Max and myself too are in this sport where every second matters, and all these really tiny differences determine whether you have this objective success or not. And the way to pursue that to the very highest level is not to just have that first pillar that Max mentioned and nail every single training session as if it needs to be, that's the only thing, and you don't care about anything else. You don't care about having fun, or you don't care about why you're doing the sport in the first place. Like Max and I too are doing all these things because it is making us better. And so it's really important to think about those pillars, think about those values, work with a professional or someone that knows you well to establish those and think about those and use those to guide you, not just to be a more well-rounded person, but because that is the best way to be the best athlete you can be.
Mm. I love it. And I
Job.
love, yeah, you could say clearly
Mhm.
Max and his team, you're spending a lot of time on the YouTube thing. And one story could be, oh, is this detracting from performance or training or sleep or whatever? But it sounds like the truth is really this is helping. This is part of the mission. It's part of your experience. It's fueling, the fire to go out and toe the line and be psyched, and hopefully do well.
Yeah, I'm really sure that. Yeah, sorry. I'm really sure that combining these adventures, these moments that I share with others, help me to perform better and to also feel to give more meaning to what I do. Because yeah, sometimes
Mm,
as any professional athlete, we may sometimes feel egoistic, or the people around us believe that we just think about ourselves. So it's also important to kind of bring more people on board and to feel supported by everyone, and especially your family or close ones. So yeah, defining, yeah, trying to make your sport more than just about sport is really important as well.
yeah. Oh man, I love it. Tell us more, Max, about the community amongst the World Cup SKIMO athletes. Hearing you guys talk, it seems that yes, the competition is on, and especially if we think about the Olympics, like spots are very limited, and it's tooth and nail, even for the very best athletes. So there's that pressure, but I also hear Max gets his first World Cup, and hey, there's his buddy, like just just as excited as he is. Or Cam told the story earlier when Cam had not been on the World Cup podium, and Max, you said something to him like, "Cam, you haven't been there yet," and that's awesome because it helps inspire that confidence. So, what's the community like? Is it a good, positive place? Are there also, I don't know, are there harder or cutthroat times that we don't see? How does it work between the men and the women? Max, I think you've lived in Switzerland a lot of your life. A lot of the top Swiss athletes you came up with. I'm sure if going to school with these men and women, you're probably buddies, whatever, maybe enemies. I don't know. Tell us more about all that.
First of all, I prefer when Cam stays behind me because because that means I'm having a good day. But yeah, I would say that yeah, it depends on your personality. If you are outspoken and that you speak many languages, yeah, I speak, of course, French, English, and I also can speak some German and Italian. So it allows me to
Mm,
speak with everyone, almost any country. That helps create bonds between me and them. And then yeah, also the fact that I'm from Belgium, I was most of the time the only one from my country. So if I wanted to share time with others, I had to go towards others, because the French team, they are already 40, so they don't need to go towards others if they want to play games or to ski with a friend. I had to do that. Uh, Thankfully, I was kind of accepted inside of the Swiss team. So since till 2023, half of 2023, I was doing all my travels with the Swiss team. So they were
Mm.
managing all the accommodation, the transportation towards the World Cup for me, and I was really included inside of the Swiss team. So that helped me a lot, and I thank them a lot for that support during these all these years. Yeah, I can speak for me. I cannot speak for everyone, but I really enjoy the company of any athlete on the circuit, and I'm always very happy when I can do a training camp or any training with anyone. The last years, I've been doing training camps with the Italian team, some Spanish, yeah, many, at least from many from French team as well. So I really enjoy sharing my my trainings, because of course when I train with them, I give them some tips, they give me some. I've been doing competitions also with some Italians like Mezzalama or Piramenta. I've been racing with Boscacci and Nadir Maghe. So yeah, racing with them, they wanted me to be as yeah, I was a team member, so they wanted me to be as good as possible, so they shared tips with me, and
Mm.
I did the same with them, even if they are more experienced than me. So yeah, I think by sharing, of course, we kind of say some secrets, and I try to be as honest as possible in the YouTube videos as well, and not to hide anything. Or if I've not said something yet in a YouTube video, it's because I don't want to give everything in the first YouTube video, and keep
Mm.
some information in the next ones. But I don't want to hide anything in these YouTube videos, and I think it helps the sports grow, and allows maybe more athletes to reach that the level at which I am, maybe faster if they have all this information quickly. But I would say that it's maybe easier to connect with or to be friends with athletes from other nations than to be
Mm.
friends or very good friends with athletes from your own nation, especially in times like now because of the pressure for the Olympics. So some countries like France, USA, Italy, Switzerland, they are almost sure to have, let's say, one spot, but it's a big fight to reach that spot. And so you are this winter, I would say, more in competition against your own teammates than with athletes from other nations, because you don't fight for the same Olympic ticket.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I can feel by talking with some nations, some tensions growing in some teams or some groups forming inside. But on my side, I don't have any other Belgian athletes competing against me. So, but that means I have to fight for my own spot. Um, in Courchevel, for example, uh, a bad American guy pushed me on the ground, so I lost many good points. But I made up for these and in Boitaoul. So yeah, when I fail on the World Cup, I don't have a big team around me who can get the spot I need. So it's a lot of
Mm.
pressure also for that. But currently, I'm thanks to my result in Boitaoul and also to the fact that the athletes in with which I'm in competition for the sprint tickets, because there's only tickets allowed thanks to the sprint, uh, perform not extremely well at the beginning of this season. It allows me to be at the moment in good position to be not Olympic hopeful, but a future Olympic athlete.
Yeah. Oh man, thanks for sharing all that, Max. That's an interesting, great insight there onto the SKIMO World Cup in the various countries. Listeners, on Max's YouTube, one of the episodes is about a training camp in Teen in France. This kind of it's a magical place. I was lucky to go there and do an ultra running race. It's a very small. There's not much of a town. There's just kind of these hotels, but it's an epic spot. Like you got the World Tour cycling teams are doing training camps. The Tour de France stage finished there. I don't know, I think 4 or 5 years ago. Really cool spot. And
Hmm.
Max, you did a great job showing what happens day in and day out at an elite training camp. So people got to check that film out for sure. Cam, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I just want to share some things about Max too, just since I have some inside intel of the things that I know that he's too humble to say that I want people to hear. So he's offering us some SKIMO gold, right? Like these pillars that he talked about and the journey that he took to being one of the best in the world and the nutrition bits, like these are all bits of SKIMO gold, right? But something that is true that we haven't quite seen yet is when he's joking around about my teammate Arthur tripping and taking out his sprint, and so he's joking around about the bad American guy. But after that, he was sending messages like, "Man, I'm so excited that Arthur made it because that was a breakthrough event for him." And this is when Max has all the pressure of the Olympics just on him, right? Because he's the one that has to earn that quota spot. And instead of being frustrated, he was happy for the person that was having a good race. And then the next day Max was fourth or fifth in the vertical, and then since then has had these great performances in Boy Taoul and moved forward really positively. So I think that's a really good example of how to carry yourself with all that pressure on you, that it's still about uplifting others. And similarly, like we've been talking about how excited everyone was for Max to win that vertical in 2021. Like he had told me the previous year when I made some self-deprecating joke about like, oh, I'm not really a racer like you. He was like, no, not yet, Cam, not yet. And there was no reason he needed to say that. And then the next year, I finished third in a race that he was seventh or something, and we talked about that moment, and both of us, I was crying. Max was maybe close to crying, and we had that beautiful moment and emotion together, and it just cost Max finishing seventh instead of sixth, and he got this like beautiful moment with his friend, which is worth it, right? And the third thing of like something to point out in my journey in SKIMO of like everyone's pretty nice to you, or everybody's totally nice to you once you sort of have a name for yourself and people recognize you and you've chatted and known each other for a few years. But there's a much shorter list of the people that were really nice to you and you remember when you had first showed up and it was your first year or
Mm.
two on the scene, and yeah, you're an unfamiliar face and everyone is busy doing their races. And I remember Max, and I also want to shout out Robert Antonioli and Mariana Yegerchikova as people that went out of their way. Like they have their own teams, they have their own system, and they were like, here's some random American person that yeah, who knows how they're going to compete, and they went out of their way during these busy race weekends to yeah establish a relationship and make a friend. So there's just another bit of those SKIMO gold nuggets that we're getting is just a really good example of ways to carry yourself. So I want to point that out to everybody.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you, Kanye. That's that day where you got that podium in at the vertical in Andorra. I remember it very well because I was in the group behind you, and I saw you sprinting. I saw Antonio really sprinting, and I said second, third. And the first thing I did when I crossed the line is I wanted to know if you were on the podium
Right.
or not. And yeah, it made my day because, as you said, you don't always believe in yourself, but yeah, one day you kind of have that click and decide to go for it. You have the legs, you have the spirit, and so you sometimes you just have to believe in you and don't and not look behind. Maybe you should have looked behind to finish second and not third. But
Oh, well.
yeah, you are still on the podium. So that's the only thing that matter. But yeah, now I'm waiting for your second podium. Yeah, I know you come back from an injury, but don't. I'm not. I will not wait very long before I see you on the podium again. I think.
Thanks so much for
Mm.
saying that, Max. And this is what it's all about, right? Is like what Max talked about of his sports psychologist helping him find that confidence before it had ever happened. Because now, when you go into a race, Max, you can think about like, well, 3 weeks ago I was on the podium in this same discipline, so let me just channel that strength. But before you had ever done that, that had to come from somewhere, and it came from you getting that help, right? And it came from me having moments like you saying that, and then the next time it happens, it comes from, yes, the experience of having done it, but just the confidence that the people around you have in you. So one, don't forget to y- take that help from the people around you to try to create that moment in the first place. Like, you have to have your breakthrough from somewhere, right? So take all that love and support you get from the people around you and the confidence that you have from wherever you can draw it from. And also don't forget that your words have power, and share that with the people around you and sport and life and everything, because moments like that are what it's all about. So those are yeah, some really special memories, and really good lessons for everybody.
Mm. Yeah,
Nice.
about the words you can give to help to motivate someone, it's sometimes difficult to find the good words between, yeah, supporting and encouraging that person and adding even more pressure to what that
Mm,
person is already experiencing. So yeah, sometimes I receive messages. Uh, People are nice. They want to support me. They say, um, I don't know, like, I'm sure next race you will be on the podium. That's a message
mm,
that for me is adding pressure. But if someone says, yeah, today you looked very strong. I'm sure you will get great results in the rest of the season. Without specifically saying podium, but that's something that's more helpful. Um, yeah, that's it's sometimes difficult to understand the difference between these, but yeah, the words people can say you can have these two impacts on you, putting more pressure or giving you a boost for the next one. So yeah,
mm.
when you send a message, if you are listening to this podcast, if you send a message to an athlete competing, think about it. If you would receive that message, would it give you a boost or motivate you, or if it would give you even more pressure and you would start stressing even more? So
Yeah.
be careful.
Thanks for sharing that, both you guys. Pillar number 3, sharing an impact in action here. Max, you said you do some coaching, man. I bet you're great at it. Clearly, you have an understanding of the physiology, the fueling, this and that. But the interpersonal side is so important. Max, I can tell you're very good. As we wrap up here, guys, in the final 5 minutes, we're going to finish with some rapid fire questions from Cam. But first, let me ask you, Max, like, what's going on this weekend? You guys, you keep saying you're in Bormio. That's in Italy. I believe this is the Olympic test event. So, like, is it the exact same course that's going to be in the Olympics? Which disciplines are you doing this weekend? Where are you at, and what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, so you're right. So we are here in Bormio because next year there will be a small event taking place in northern Italy, which is called the Winter Olympics. If you have heard about it, no,
I
I'm
have,
joking.
yes.
So, so, so yet there will be two races this weekend in Bormio: a sprint on Saturday and a mixed relay on Sunday. I only compete in sprints because I don't have a female partner, so I will only focus on the race of Saturday. I think the course will be very similar to the one we will expect next year at the Olympics. Of course, there will be some changes depending on the feedback we have, but in the yeah, globally it will be the same course, same structure. So yeah, this weekend is very important to get to know the course, to get to know the area, to get to know the geography of the place, and this race also. Is part of the races that count towards the Olympic qualification to have the quotas to take part to the Olympics. So there's many different goals of this weekend in Bormio, and yeah, after this World Cup, we will head to Switzerland for the World Championship. Which will be also very important for me, more important than the World Cup here. And yeah, that's it.
All right, and at World Champs, Max, are you doing all the, or I guess, are you doing both the sprint and the individual, or do you have a specific focus for the World Champs in Switzerland?
Now I will do all the disciplines. At the World Championship, you have 5 disciplines, but I will only compete in the 3 individual disciplines. So they will.
Yep.
So we will start the week with the mixed relay on Monday that I will not do. Then I will do the vertical race on Tuesday. Hopefully, I will have a rest day on Wednesday before the sprint on Thursday and the individual race on Friday. And there will also be a team race, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. Or yeah, and so it will be. I will race 3 competitions in 4 days. So it's quite a challenging calendar, but
Yeah.
I'm not afraid.
All right. Well, good luck to both you guys. Cam is in those same races for the most part as well. For the listeners, these races will have happened by the time you hear or watch this. So check out YouTube. I think the best place is the ISMF YouTube stream, and for a lot of these races, they have full coverage. It's fantastic. I watch them, guys, when I'm on the bike trainer, and I'm going through those sprint heats, and like I can hardly breathe. It is so dang exciting. So, listeners, check this out. It's great stuff. Cam, do you want to wrap up? Any final kind of rapid fire questions here for Max?
Yeah, so Max, normally what Travis and I do is hit you with some rapid fire questions at the end, but we're running short on the time that we all said. And here's what's on my mind is that we talked about an hour long podcast to get you to your dinner and me to mine, and that's our training session. And then we're exploring something new, like the two of you met and we're having a great conversation and learning from each other. And then we're sharing this a lot too. So I'm thinking about these 3 pillars. So how are we going to finish this the best way? We're gonna hit exactly an hour. We're gonna have some adventure and learn some stuff, and we're gonna share. So instead of the rapid fire questions, what's burning on my mind that I want to hear from you for the next few minutes is you just had the Belgian SKIMO championships, or at least the individual and the vertical, and Travis brought up earlier. Tell us about SKIMO in Belgium. Like, how's the sport developing? How's it growing? What's your role in that process, and how do you see things going from here? Because what I'm really interested in personally, and I've told you this before, is I think you would be one of, and on the right day, the best vertical racer, or not vertical racer. Well, of course, yes, also vertical racer, but mixed relay racer in the world. I think it would suit you and your abilities really well, but because you don't have a teammate, you don't get to race in it. And so part of why I'm so curious is because I want to know who your 2030 Olympic teammate may be. But just to walk back, like tell us about SKIMO in Belgium. Like how's that going? How was last weekend? What role are you playing? And tell us what to expect from Belgium the next few years.
Yeah, it's quite simple. Skimo in Belgium is non-existent because you don't have mountains to do skimo in Belgium. The highest point is 700 meters, just short of 700 meters. So you have snow. Let's say 1 week per year. There are some cross-country slopes, but that open only when there is snow. So some also ski slopes, some indoor ski slopes in the northern part. But yet that's it. The only ski mountaineering or ski touring Belgian enthusiasts are people who often go to the mountains or made the move to, like me, to live in Switzerland or in the French Alps. So these were, I would say, a big part of the people who took part to the Belgian Championship. So it's people who either live in Belgium and often go to the mountains because they have the time and the money to do that, or they live in the Alps. So I think the problem to develop skimo in Belgium, actually it's me. It's because I'm too competitive compared to the rest of the Belgian team. If you look at some small nations, they are more than me on the World Cup, but they all have similarly the same level, and so they support each other, they grow together. If another Belgian or other Belgian athletes were joining me on the circuit, there would be this huge gap between me and them, and they would not feel like credible, or they would not feel like they belong to this circuit. So I would say that I am the problem. And about mixed relay, there is one girl actually that with whom I would love to compete in mixed relays. She's already on the World Cup circuit, but she's racing for Switzerland. So there is a Swiss girl who also has the Belgian citizenship, and I try to convince her to join me. Of course, it's difficult to change, also leave that the opposite way, because I was sometimes thinking to compete for Switzerland, but yeah, it was not easy to kind of break with your past and leave behind your previous nation to compete for another one. And so I will not say her name, but yeah, if she listens to the podcast, she will know I'm talking about her. And with her, we would make an amazing team, I believe, in mixed relays, because she's still quite young and she has a huge potential. So yeah, for the 2030 Olympics, let's see. But yeah, I hope that in 2030 we will have the individual race at the Olympics, because that's what our sport is about.
Nice.
This is my
Very
plea to Belgians interested in SKIMO everywhere is when you get a snow this winter, get your gear. If you live in Flanders, go to the Cowberg, go to the Camelberg, do your little sprint intervals just on the bergs, and just get yourself in shape, and Max will help you along, and you guys will make an awesome team. Whether with this girl or someone else, like I want to see you race in relays. I think it'd be really exciting.
I would love to.
I love it. Yeah, watching some of those bergs, man, in the spring classic cycling events, those are so slippery. You could definitely ski down them at times. It might mess up your wax a little bit, but you could definitely do it. So, well, cool, Max. We'll be watching, man. Just thanks so much again, both of you guys. Thanks for sharing your time in the midst of a World Cup weekend. This really, like I said, it's been golden. So, Max, thanks for sharing all the wisdom. I think people are going to love this. Let's see. Cam's on Instagram at Cam from CB. Max, what's the best place to find you? We've been talking about your YouTube channel. Again, people got to check that out. Should they also look on Instagram or any other places where you're sharing stuff?
Yeah, I'm very active also on Instagram and Facebook as well. I'm one of the last athletes still managing a Facebook account, but I try to post different content on Facebook and Instagram.
Excellent. Cool. Well, we'll check it out. Thanks again, guys. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks. Thank you. I had a lot of fun.
I'll see you out there this weekend, Max.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.